In the previous lesson, we saw how we can hide and show different elements within our web page, so we can actually do quite a bit more as well with our jQuery. So we're going to start out with all of our sections being displayed none, and we're going to bring those in slowly by fading them in. So with jQuery, we have an option to fade in or fade out. So in this instance, we want to fade them in. So we saw how we can do show and hide, but let's take a look at fade in. And we need to have specific values here, so we can just simply do, if we want to fade it in slowly, we can just do a default calculation here. We can also specify how quickly we want to fade it in, but for now we're just going to show you how we can do it with fade in slowly. So refresh the page, and now whenever we click it, and just going to refresh it again and pay attention to how the styling is going to take place. So we see that the opacity increases, and then finally when it reaches 1, it goes to display block. So this is all calculated and done with jQuery. So we also have an option to specify how quickly we want to fade it in. So we don't have to specify slow. We can also specify within seconds. So if we want to fade it in within 5 seconds, we can do this as well. So now bringing this in, we see that the increase and increment is quite a bit slower, and we have full control on how quickly we want this to come in. We also have an option to run something whenever the fade has been completed, so we can fire off a function here whenever it's completed, and we can do something with that function. So this can be literally anything that we want it to be. So maybe what we want to do here is we want to update the value, maybe we want to update the background color of this or something like that, or I'm just seeing if we have some so maybe we'll apply some styling to it. So we're going to toggle the class for it. So what we had seen earlier, where we can select the particular object and we can toggle class, and we can specify which class we want to toggle, and in this case we're going to do blue. So let's save that, save this one, just make sure everything is saved. And now whenever we click it, and we see that this is going to run through, calculate up, and then when it hits 1, it's going to go fire off and toggle the background class of that selection. So we see that once it finishes firing off, the background goes to blue, and when we click it again, so essentially what it's doing, it's toggling that off, but it's not firing off anything else with the fade. So it's not actually fading that out. So we can add that in as well. And just like what we saw with the ability to hide and show, we can also do something called a fade toggle. So I'm going to increase the speed, so it's going to be a little bit quicker now, and we can do a fade toggle. So we had an option to fade out, we have an option to fade in, and we have a toggle which allows us to bring it in and bring it back out. Fade it in, fade it out. And then we still have that background class that's toggling in as well, and we can see that we have full control just from clicking these links here on how our content is displayed and being output within our website in our visible area. So in the next lesson, let's take a look at sliding up and sliding down, and slide toggle, of course, so the in between there. So this is coming up in the next lesson.